has happened over the weeks is that we've consistently had the same people come through, which is great, right? Because then it means that every time you come, you're learning something new, you're building on the knowledge that you acquired in the previous session. And we're super excited that you are able to walk with us along this journey. And we hope that it's been helpful for you. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Zach and wishing everybody a wonderful session today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And let me share my screen. Great. So today we are going to have a session, and the session is specifically looking at a case study from the classroom from one of our wonderful teachers. I'll introduce her in a short while. But before I introduce her, let us look at the objectives of the session. And the objectives of the session are that you learn from a peer teacher on how they have effectively incorporated foundational learning PhET simulation into their own teaching. She's going to share her unique experience and share insights about how she used it in her lesson. Then we'll have an opportunity for a few more participants on the session to share their own experiences. And then towards the end, we are going to learn more about the opportunity for continued learning. As Jackie has mentioned, that today marks the end of the 4-part series, but that's not the end of learning. We have a wonderful opportunity for you to continue learning on your own, and we'll be sharing those particular details. So before we jump right in, I just want to pose this question. And the question is, have you ever used a PhET simulation in your lesson before? Have you ever used a PhET simulation in your lesson before? I'll give you 20 seconds to type in the chat box. Just type yes if you have, and type no if you haven't. 20 seconds in the chat box. Have you ever used a PhET simulation in your lesson before? Type in the chat box yes if you have, and no if you haven't. Okay, great. You see a yes, you see a no, a no, a no. Great. Okay. Now I have a follow-up question. For those of you who have used PhET simulation in your lesson before, which simulation did you find most effective? And if you typed no, could you tell us what has held you back from using a PhET simulation? I'll give you a minute to type in the chat box again. So if you said yes, which simulation did you find most effective? Or which simulation did you use? And if you said no, what held you back from using that PhET simulation? I'll give you about a minute to be able to type in the chat box to either tell us the simulation you found most effective, or if you said no, what held you back from using a simulation? Great. There's feedback from Sam Donald. Karen says, since Sam Donald has used several simulations, he says Faraday's law simulation, Wave's intro simulation. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds to be able to type your response. So if you said yes, what simulation did you find most effective? And if you said no, what held you back from using the PhET simulation? Obi Ageli Ezinwachuku, I hope I pronounced that well, says I am not always in the classroom. Awesome. Can we have a few more feedback, please? So if you said yes, which simulation did you find most effective? And if you said no, what held you back from using the simulation? So Marceliso says isotopes and atomic mass. I guess those are two different simulation. Great. Okay, so let me begin with Sam. Sam, if you're able to tell us, like, why did you find Faraday's law most effective, or Webb's most effective? Why did you find it most effective? Let me see if I can. Shola, are you able to elevate Sam, and also elevate Abigail, and elevate Marceliso?
Yeah, sure, Can you confirm Sam? Who else? Marceliso?
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach, for giving me this opportunity. Do you know why I love the Faraday's law sim? Throughout my entire career in physics, when I tried to explain the concept of induced current, it was so tough to the students to visualize that part where current is induced. But with this simulation, now I'm home and dry. Like, even the activities that I developed alongside this one, the kids will just tell you, say, this is not a typical concept like that. But before PhET, I used to, even when I get to this topic, I'll get bored somehow. There comes this topic. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And let's also hear from Abigail. You mentioned that you're not always in the classroom. Would you mind telling us your context? Are you a teacher educator? Are you a parent? Like, what has held you back from using the PhET simulation? Oh, Abigail says, but privately, I used it in isotopes and atomic mass. Awesome. Okay. Marceliso, do you want to share why you found isotopes or atomic mass to be more effective?
Okay, thank you very much. Greetings, everyone. What I found interesting in the simulations is that most of the times when you're teaching learners, especially when we're talking about atomic chemistry, we are talking about atoms that are not visible. They are abstract. So on my side, it has facilitated my teaching in the way that learners at least had the understanding of what they are talking about, because we'll be having different atoms and then forming isotopes of different atoms. At least when they are able to visualize what you're talking about, their understanding becomes more. So that is how I've seen it effective in my lessons. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it seems both of you have shared, and this particular experience of these simulations are from like a high school perspective. And for today, we actually have, we are thrilled to have Mercy. And Mercy is a teacher, is a foundational learning teacher, and also part of our PhET fellow, who is a pioneer in innovative teaching tools into her classroom. And today she has an opportunity to share her experience in incorporating PhET simulations into foundational and numeracy teaching. And we are looking forward to Mercy's sharing her insights and sharing strategies that would be incredibly valuable to us. So without much further ado, I would like us to welcome Mercy. Shola, are you able to elevate her to the panelist? I don't see her on the list.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. I think she dropped off briefly, but I'm sure she's trying to reconnect as well.
Okay, great. So in that case, once she's on, we will allow her to be able to share her experience. So
people on the call also, while we wait for her, can have some experience to share. Lots of people had amazing contributions from the last call. I see Asutosh on the call, and a couple of other math educators here. So maybe at some point, if not now, they will be able to share as well.
yeah, so happy for a few more people to share. Those who have done it specifically with foundational learning. Ashutosh, are you able to share with us, you know, a simulation that you've used for foundational learning?
Sure.
Shola, are you able to elevate?
Yes, I will allow him. Asutosh, you should be able to speak now.
Hello.
Hi, we hear you good.
Well, I'm audible. Just wanted to check once again. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. We can hear you, Ashutosh.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, to be honest, like this PhET simulation, it had been a wonderful experience personally for me. But, talking about its implementation in classroom had not been done till yet. But for personally, if I would be sharing my experiences with the simulations, it had been wonderful. Reason being, talking about mathematics, because the concepts of mathematics are completely abstract in nature, right? So the major challenge starts with starting the concepts from where we should start the concept. So these PhET simulations actually help out to initiate the concepts, like from where we're talking about from where to start. This simulation can be the part of teaching learning process from where it could be started, because in PhET simulations, what I have experienced, there are multiple ways of experiencing the concepts related to numbers, the concepts of elementary classes. So in my experience, it had been wonderful experience. And if this would have been brought to classrooms, then definitely students would have enjoyed. But unfortunately, I had not been able to implement it, because I'm not someone who is directly associated with the students or working with students in classrooms, right? So this is the thing from my part. This had been something what I've experienced. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ashutosh, for sharing that. Awesome. So, oh yes, so I see Mercy is here. Let me just elevate her. Elevate her. And yes, so Mercy, you should be able to share your screen and share with us your experience of how you've used the PhET simulation for foundational numeracy teaching.
Okay. Thank you, Zach, for that. I've realized I may not share my camera because I think you have stopped it. Maybe you could enable and then we continue.
Okay, you should be able to share now.
Still not able to share my camera. But let me just go ahead and share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, Mercy, you can see it.
Just a minute, let me get my presentation. Let me do it first.
Okay, great. As Mercy is trying to find her presentation, maybe just a question that I would like to pose to participants. Mercy, let me know once you get your screen. So when you have access to a PhET simulation, let's say a simulation like number play.
Okay, yes, I'll let you know. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So when you are able to get to a simulation like number play, are you able as a as an educator, are you able to find other teacher contributed activities that might help you address a specific topic in foundational numeracy? Marcia, are you ready? Awesome. We can see your screen.
Yes, I'm ready.
Please proceed. You stopped sharing your screen again. Marcia, are you able to share your screen again?
Yeah, sure.
We just need to do full screen mode. Yes. There is an icon at the top there that says, no, you came out again. Yes, now we can see a full screen.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Today, I'm going to present on my experiences as a PhET fellow, especially dealing with young learners in teaching numeracy. And so we should always consider counting principles when teaching numeracy. And so today I want to talk about the counting principles and how they apply to teaching numeracy. And I'm going to talk about that, how I've used relations and these principles to enhance learning of numbers. And so the agenda for today, I'm going to introduce what the counting principles are. And then I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to demonstrate the number play simulation, where you teachers are going to explore the number play and see how the counting principles apply. And then also I'm going to share the strategies that support planning that I've used. And then by the end of this presentation, we are going to have an interaction and answer, and also a discussion on the same. Okay, so principles of counting. When I say principles of counting, what do I mean? So first of all, we need to consider the success of our learners in mathematics. What do you consider for them to be successful in mathematics, especially young ones? So normally the young learners, the first thing they learn in school is number. And most of us, we are used to, making them count either 1 to 20 rotely. They may count, and that is a skill. For your child, 1 to 20, that is a skill. But are you really sure that this child understands what they are doing, or they just merely know the symbol? So 1 to 20 is a skill, but how do they learn? So these learners need to have that sense of learning numbers. And so therefore, have these principles that assist our learners to learn the numbers. So this therefore brings us to the people who introduced the principles of counting. Rachel Gelman and Randy Gallistel. And on this other side, that they're in bold. And the first 5 are in bold, which they used, and then later other 5 were added. So why this principle? So this is just to help teachers and parents at home, to help their learners to know how to learn numbers and not merely cramming numbers. So very quickly, I'll just give an overview of these one by one. The one-to-one correspondence, which is, when the child is counting, they ever touch once. So therefore, whatever has been touched once is not. So they just count it once and they continue with the other counting. Then we have stable order. Stable order is where they are counting in a particular order. It is 1, 3, 4 going onwards in that particular order. You may not count 4, 3, 1, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we also have cardinality, whereby the last number they have counted equals to the number of items. So if they have sweets and they count those sweets, so the last number they mention is the total amount of those sweets. Then we have abstraction. Abstraction is where you can count different items together. Okay, so there is no limit in counting. So different items can always be counted together. Then there's also that order relevant. So you can either count some from left to right or right, left, top to bottom or bottom to top, regardless of the direction you're using. So those were the 5 that by the great. And then later on, these others were added, so we have hierarchical inclusion, whereby you have small numbers can be included in a larger number. So, for example, you can have number 5. Within number 5, you have 1 to 4. Within number 3, you have 1 to 2, and so forth and so forth. Then we have conservation, is whereby you are counting items spread out or close together. Those items remain the same in number. There's also subitizing. Subitizing is where you can recognize a small item in a group without counting. So the learner or the child can recognize there is this number without necessarily counting. They know that this is 2, this is 4, this is 3. Then unitizing. So unitizing is where you group items into units and then you count the units as 1. And then movement is magnitude. So when you count, when these learners count, they will realize that they are either increasing in quantity or increasing in quantity. So when you count backwards, you increase in quantity. When you count forward, you increase in quantity. So these are some of the principles that I applied while my learners especially the number play simulation. So today I'll focus on the number play simulation, and then also I'd like us to see how the various variables within the simulations help us to catch all these counting. So what are these key features in the number play simulation that was aimed to achieve? So why did I choose? So from here, you find that there are multiple representations in that simulation. If you look at this screen here, you find that you have items such as puppy, butterflies, we have balls, and we have apples. So whichever the learner chooses, they can learn. Then we have 2 different screens here where they can actually see and compare. Then up here we have where they can check and see the total. They can also check and see the word itself. And also there's a friend that can also assist them in the exercise. Another thing is that it has manipulatives. As you can see here, you can manipulate all these manipulatives that are on the screen. And then it is also gamified. As you will see that it has different screens where one of the screens is a level where the learners can actually play and learn at the same time. And then it is visual. Actually, when you use this simulation, you'll find that whatever you are doing is visual. We have items and we have instant feedback that you'll see on the screen. You do a particular simulation. Okay, so I'd like us to do an activity. I'll share the activity, and I'll also Raf will also share the link to the simulation. Hello, are you still with me?
Yes, Mercy. I've just dropped a link to the number play PhET simulation in the chat.
Okay. Okay, so there is an activity here. I don't know what I've done. It suddenly disappeared. Let me just try resharing again. Are you able to see my screen?
It is loading. Now we can see Google Doc, number play grade 1.
Okay, so there's the number play. This is a lesson designed for grade 1 learners. And just to give you the context that I used, is this grade 1 learners are of ages between 7 and 9. And they are classrooms. So the classroom that I had interaction with learners are actually crowded. A class of numbers between 60 and yes. So what I did with these learners, that they had tablets provided by the government of Kenya, and I grouped them into groups of 6 or 4, depending on the number of tablets. So if I had 20 tablets, I grouped them in groups of 4. Yes, so just to give you some light on this lesson plan, this is an activity that I want us to do. And the learning outcomes that represent numbers in symbols and in words using concrete objects, model addition objects together, use plus and equal symbols in writing addition statements, add 2 single-digit numbers in different contexts. So this is the lesson activity. I would also like Zach, would you please also drop this in the chat? But it is editable. You can also just edit on it, just write on it, type on it, and I would like one person to volunteer to count up 20. As you are getting ready to open your simulation, let us answer question 1, count up to 20.
So Mercy, just
Any volunteer?
like counting?
Yes, just count.
Can I count in Swahili?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let me start. Moja, mbili, tatu, nne, tano, sita, saba, nane, tisa, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Great. So most of the learners also counted in Swahili because they are conversant with that language. But it doesn't mean that they don't know the symbols. Some know the symbols. And what was very exciting is that the simulation was visual. They never relied on the wording format. But even so, they had their counterparts who would help them because they were in group. Okay, so let's move to question 2. Play with the number play 10 simulation for 1 minute. So when you open your screen, find that there are 10, when you open the simulation, actually, we have that, we have 4 screens. So the first screen, just open the first screen. The first screen is called 10. And play with it for 1 minute. At this point, I would like someone to share the screen and tell us how they're playing with the simulation. I'll stop sharing my screen so that one of our learners can actually put the 10, number plate 10. Yes, I've stopped sharing my screen, so one volunteer to play with the 10.
Okay, so
Simulation.
okay, so I have, yes, so what would you like?
Just play with it. 1 minute. I hope you can see what is happening, and I'll ask questions along on what I've discovered. So let's begin. Thank you so much. I hope we have taught us what is happening. And so while playing with simulation, what have you discovered? Before we move to the next, what have you discovered?
So I discovered that I can actually like use this to put like, numbers up or put the butterflies up like that. I also discovered that I can move these numbers around. I discovered that I can click on this, and when I click on it, the butterflies, like, they are in order. And if I have like 10 and I click on this,
Okay.
they are in, yeah.
So I see Nansa is raising his hand.
Thank you so much, sir.
Nansa, I see you're raising your hand. Would you like to contribute anything?
There's a new hand from Bagbadi. Yes, tell us something. Bagbadi, your hand is up. You're muted.
Yeah, I think you should go ahead while he's trying to sort out his audio.
Okay, so we've just seen what is happening from the small demonstration. And that is just to familiarize ourselves with the simulation before we use it. So we use that to familiarize the learners. And we also use it to make them curious, okay? So they are curious to learn. They are also learning how to use those variables. So when I expose them to these questions, it will be easy for them to maneuver around.
Mercy, are you sharing your screen?
No, I stopped sharing my screen.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I stopped sharing my screen. And let us move to the next question. I think I lost. I'll share my screen.
Mercy, we can't see your screen.
Let me. Okay, could someone just share, Zach, could you share the questions with me, please? The activity questions.
Hi, Mercy.
Hi, Zach, I'm saying share your screen on the activity questions if you have them.
Do you mean on the simulation or?
No, the activity itself. Do you have it?
No.
Okay, let me just get it. Just let me get it.
Okay.
So in the meantime, I'm just trying to get it, and it's
Okay.
taking a bit of some
So
time.
yeah, so as Mercy is trying to get the activity questions, I would like to quickly share how you can get other teacher contributed activities on a simulation. So let me just share my screen and go back one step to the number play PhET simulation. So when you open the PhET simulation or any simulation that you want to interact with, there are quite a number of things before you go to the simulation itself that you can see at the bottom here. So we have the about section, which is about the simulation. We have the teaching resource, which I talked about last time. But if you actually want to find teacher contributed activities that might help you address topics or concepts that you want to teach that are related to this number play PhET simulation or that simulation of your choice, then you come to this activities section, and you can see there is a list of Mercy, just let me know when you're ready. Yeah, so you can
Yes,
see
I'm
a
ready.
list of,
I'm ready.
awesome. Let me stop sharing my screen. Carry on, Mercy.
Okay. So we were doing this activity on number play. I hope you can all now see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yes, so there are these questions you had counted up to 20. Most of the learners can do that very well. And then now you have played openly with the simulation for 1 minute. And you've discovered something. Now, the next activity is for you to arrange number 7, 4, and 3 of any items of your choice on the screen. So we have several items on the screen. So just arrange 7, arrange 4, arrange 3 of these objects once there. I'd also like someone to do this. So I'll stop sharing my screen so that you can arrange also to discover what principles are coming into play when you do that. So 7, 4, and 3, use the 10 screen, the same screen that you used for playing, use the same one to arrange those numbers. Let me stop sharing and then someone to do it. From there, we will now write the object, the symbol, and the word, and then we pronounce it. So that is question 3. Let me stop sharing my screen as someone else does the activity. Any volunteer to do the activity?
I see Tabot is raising a hand, but Tabot might not be able to share. So let's see. Tabot, are you able to share your screen?
Okay.
You should be able to talk now. Hi, Tabot, do you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Yeah, please proceed. Are you able to share your screen, or you would just like to give a comment? How about the floor is yours? Yeah, Mercy, I would advise you proceed while Tabot is trying to fix our audio.
Okay. Here we go. I am sharing. Can you see my screen?
In a bit, it's not visible yet. Oh, I think Tabot is also trying to share. So this is Tabot's screen, not yours.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes,
Yes.
it's clear.
Yes, we see your screen, Tabot.
Okay. There we go. So in order to do the second exercise, I will use my own example. Right. So the first column will be for the object. Am I mistaken? Mercy? The first
Yes,
column,
proceed.
yeah, will be the object there. As we know, I will have to use the first and the third column to answer the question. And it is butterfly. Now I will pronounce it butterfly.
Okay.
Butterfly. And then I'll go further and pronounce it butterfly. Then and then I'll make them understand why I have this difference in pronunciation, because based on our community, we find a lot of accents from various sub-communities. They have different accents. So sometimes I make fun of it and I tell my learners, it depends from where you studied. When you see me pronounce butterfly, I'll tell them that I am from the Western culture, just to make fun of it. Then when I want to really stress on the syllables, I will say butterfly because of their level. And therefore the figure there is 7. That's it.
Okay, Tabot, yes, because of time, just retain the screen. I want us to realize something.
Okay.
There is one principle that we named one-to-one correspondence. So what does that principle mean? So as you put these butterflies on the screen, you realize that a particular butterfly corresponds to a particular number. So when you put 1, you see here, it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So one particular butterfly corresponds to a particular number as you count. So that is principle number 1. So I'll just go through that very quickly because of time. And then there's this also another principle known as the stable order. Okay, so when you assign numbers, even as you look at the screen there, you see the 7. Okay, so stable order is that numbers will follow that particular order. So your learner must also see that these numbers are following a particular order. It's starting from 1, then goes to 2, upwards like that. So that is the stable order that these learners are supposed to notice. Another thing, another principle that we looked at is the cardinality. And you see that this number of butterflies are 7. There are 7, okay? So this is the last number that you've seen. And this last number is the total number of these butterflies. So the learners knows that as they count, as they continue counting and stop, that is the last, that is the actual number of the item or the object, whichever. Then another principle we can notice on this screen is the abstraction. Okay, so you can count anything. You can count anything. Even using these other screens, you realize that anything can be counted. So they don't have to be similar in any way. You can just count anything. And then another principle we also notice in that activity is the order of irrelevance. Okay, order of counting does not affect the final count. Okay, and then another principle we also notice is the. Okay, Tabot, can you try to put the butterflies in different positions? And I want us to notice if different positions randomly. We can still notice that the number does not change. The number does not change. So whichever position or place that they have been placed, the number does not change, okay? So with all that, we have 10 principles. So that activity will help us to know, to realize the kind of where the principles have been applied. Okay, thank you, Tabot. You can now just stop sharing your screen as I conclude the session.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Yep.
Okay, I just want to share the final bit of my presentation. Just to conclude. So as I'm concluding, I would like to I'd like to ask one question. What are other ways what are those ways that you can use this simulation in your classroom?
So, hi, Mercy.
Are there any other ways you can use this simulation in your classrooms?
Mercy, we don't have so much time. I'm afraid maybe we can stop there, and then we can continue this conversation, offline.
Okay.
So that we allow just to highlight about opportunities for continued learning. So thank you so much for sharing your inspiring experience on how you incorporate number play. You have highlighted how PhET enhances, how that particular simulation enhances the principles of counting from stable order, one-to-one, subitizing, and so forth and so on. So at this point, I would like to welcome Rebecca to share about the opportunity for continued learning. So we've had 4 webinar series, but the learning does not end here. We have an opportunity to continue learning. And I will give Rebecca a chance to just talk about this self-paced course that we have. So Rebecca, over to you.
Great, thank you, Zach. And welcome everyone. I am super glad to just be joining you for a few minutes. I'm Rebecca Vieira, and I'm the Director of Global Initiatives for PhET. So I'm based in Washington, D.C., but occasionally I make my way over to Africa. So I just had the wonderful pleasure of visiting Nigeria. So I would love to have people continue with this process in terms of deepening thinking about how to work with young children with the simulations. And like Zach has been mentioning to you all, I think over the past few weeks, we have an online course that just went public last night. And we want to invite you to join a private section of this course, which we expect will be available on Monday. So Zach, do you happen to have that pre-registration link on you that you can drop in the chat while I show the course to people real quick? Awesome.
Yes.
So if you haven't already pre-registered and you're interested in doing so, please sign up using the link that Zach just shared with you. And I'm going to give you just a sneak peek of what that course is all about, because it will allow you to earn a certificate from Coursera and from the University of Colorado Boulder from the PhET project at no cost. So our course is on Coursera, and the course is always free. It's always open. But in order to get the certificate from Coursera, typically there's a cost. But we have a special agreement with the university where by being part of this private section, which will be open from, like I said, Monday through the end of November, it's at no cost and you can get that certificate. So let me just show you kind of quickly what that course actually looks like. It's, like I said, it's on Coursera, which is kind of like, it's like a MOOC platform. You are able to download most of the course content and use it offline as well. There is an app, but all of that information we'll be sharing with you. So this particular course will cover in detail some of the lessons that I know Zach has already shared with you kind of in brief, with number play, make a 10, and number compare. And it also introduces a few other simulations as well, like making area models and things like that. It will focus on equitable strategies to support students, including students who are multilingual. So I don't know if that is your case, that you have many multilingual students in your classrooms, but in many cases, you know, students may have a mother tongue, which is different from what they are expected to speak when they're in the classroom. And there are certain strategies that we can use to help students begin to, you know, be more comfortable in English in this case, in all likelihood, right? While also still kind of honoring their mother tongue. And It will also focus on a number of different things like number talks, small group work, demonstrations, storytelling, and predictions, and getting students to talk, just like I know Zach and Mercy and a few other people have been modeling for you over the past few weeks. And when you get into the course, excuse me, there are a total of 11 modules, which focus on things like building number sense in general, exploring math identity, teaching to multilingual students, and then it goes through a number of very specific lessons. So we have videos, we have examples of some classroom interactions, we have examples of how teachers think about using the simulations and plan to use them. And in the final module, it will ask you, or sorry, in the second to last module, it will ask you to make a lesson idea and then to share that with other people in the course so that you can get feedback and make improvements before you actually try it in your own classroom. You can take the course whenever you want and work at your own pace, but you have to finish it. To get the certificate for free, you have to finish it by November 31st. So that's what this is all about. Does anybody have, I don't know if anybody has any questions, or I can just stick around after you've closed the session, Zach. But if you're interested, fill out that form that Zach gave you. And tomorrow you will be receiving, tomorrow probably evening time for you, you'll be receiving an email telling you how to get into the course. And then you can get started on Monday. I think that's it from me, Zach.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for highlighting that. Please, for anyone who is interested, don't forget to register on the link I've just dropped in the chat box. Again, the course is self-paced, and it will help you to dive deeper into the foundational learning PhET simulation. So at this point, I would like to welcome Chinedu to give the closing remarks from Adair. So welcome, Chinedu.
Thank you, Zach. Unfortunately, you can't start your video because the host stopped it. So if you allow me, I can switch on my camera and share my remarks if it's possible.
Sure, it is. Do you mind? Can you try that again now?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to
sorry,
I want
Chinedu,
to.
We can't hear you.
Is my voice too low, or let me see?
Yeah, good now.
Just 1 second. Let me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I just want to acknowledge everyone who has followed us on all through this journey up till now. And in trying to do that, I want to also mention why ADEA is involved with this. And ADEA stands for Association for the Development of Education in Africa. If you're well aware with some of the work that we do in the policy space, especially around providing evidence, one of the key challenges that we have is the poor learning outcomes in Africa. And one of the reports we did with the UNESCO GEM report is showing that about 9 out of 10 children under the age of 10 are unable to read a simple text or solve a simple arithmetic at the age of 10. And it basically boils down to the quality, a lot of children being in the classroom, but the quality of teaching or the delivery or some other circumstances basically preventing such pupils from learning. I mean, there could be a lot of things. But one way we could begin to attack this such a challenge and begin to reverse those numbers is to explore ways in which we can, enhance the capacity of foundational learning teachers to deliver literacy and numeracy. And PhET has been very gracious to open up the interactive simulations for a number of teachers of literacy, numeracy across Africa to learn. So it's on that basis that we basically ensure to put our ICQN network and our network across the continent at the disposal of everyone to leverage this sort of opportunity, this sort of resource to strengthen your skills and capacity to be able to deliver numeracy to your pupils. It's not going to be a one-off thing. We want to ensure that there is a consistency in our approach to supporting teachers. It's also one of the few ways in which we want to strengthen teacher capacity development by showcasing technology-enabled platforms or opportunities that can ensure that you would achieve more with less time, less resources, and in less circumstances. You understand your pupils better, you know the context better than we do, you have the skills and the capacity, but for whatever challenge or situations, that learning is just not happening. ADEA and PhET from the University of Colorado will consistently ensure that we are on your side in terms of providing you with the assistance and support we need, and where technology enables things happen. So on behalf of the senior leadership team at ADEA and all of us at the Secretariat, ministries of education who constitute the membership of ADEA, I want to thank you for exceptionally spending time with us, and we hope that there's been a lot of value exchange in terms of knowledge and skills for you to be able to do this. We want to see videos, we want to see evidence that you are using this in the classroom. We want to see that you are now, your pupils are now exciting to get into numeracy classrooms to be able to learn and adopt new ways to solve abstraction, cardinality, arithmetics, and whatnot. So on behalf of everyone who's joined us, the PhET team, the ADEA Secretariat, and everyone, I want to sincerely and deeply appreciate your commitment, the time you've spent to be able to do this. And if you are able to take up the opportunity that Rebecca has just offered, I am sure that in a few months down the line, we will see you spreading the gospel of FIRST interactive simulations in your domains, in your countries, in your counties, in your local government, or in your provinces or counties, you know. So let me stop here, but just to express that we are particularly happy that you've been able to join this session, and we would ensure to meet the other obligations that we committed to when we were starting this course. Congratulations to everyone, and we wish you all the best. Back to you, Zach.
Thank you so much, Chinedu. Have a great evening, everyone. We will stay behind just to address questions for those who are willing to stay behind, but that marks the end of our session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I see a request for them to set up a WhatsApp group. Maybe it's something to oblige so that we can also see if it is possible to provide continued sort of support and assistance, you know, for all the beneficiaries. I think this is a very good way, and I'm sure that those who participated would have enjoyed their sessions.
Awesome. Great.
So in place of, if I can respond to that, in place of a WhatsApp group, there's an existing community on Facebook already, which I would advise that we use and take advantage of. But yeah, since we have the mailing list as well, we can also, if I think that's a good place to start from. And
yeah,
you
just share the link.
Information.
Yeah, share the link if it's possible. Otherwise, send everyone the link and then they can connect. And then we can begin to provide some support from that channel as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
We'll definitely be having a WhatsApp group for the people who participate in the course. So if you've pre-registered, you will also get information about that.
Okay, over to you, Zach.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if you have further questions, please feel free to share. We will stick around to address your specific questions. Otherwise, you are free to leave.
Okay. The question that I have is, am I allowed to continue the course on Coursera for the number play if I'm not a primary teacher, primary level teacher?
That's a good question, Marceliso. Yes, the course
Yes,
is not just
that
meant
was my
for...
question. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem. So the course is not just for primary school teachers, is for
I don't know
anyone
if you can
who is
hear me, Zach.
interested. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, you can join the course. It is not limited to primary school teachers.
Hello?
Anyone who is interested can join the course.
All right. I missed most of the words you spoke. I don't know
Marceliso,
why
did you
my
get that?
speaker is not.
Let me just type in the chat box that anyone is welcome to join the course.
There's another question in the chat from Joan. Says, thank you for the opportunity. Can we share the link with others as well?
Yes, you're welcome to share the link with others to pre-register in order to be sent the invite link to the course. So feel free to share with anyone who is interested in doing the course. Okay, great. If we don't have more questions, then I guess we will end it there. And enjoy your evening and see you in the course.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.